Okay, hello everyone. Today is Friday, March 7th, 2025. I meant to do a video a few days ago on Monday, March 3rd, and I was going to say something a little bit different, and then I had to kind of reevaluate some things with God. This should be a quick video. I just want to remind you or inform you if you're not aware. This coming Tuesday, March 11th, here in the USA, there is something called the Bank Term Lending Program. This program technically expired a year prior, March 11th of 2024. And the general gist of my comprehension of things, and I am not an economic expert, is that when that expired, they renewed it or they extended it for another year. Well, what is it to begin with? What is it to begin with is basically, I guess the government lent money to all the banks because the banks didn't have the money to pay back their loans to the government or something like that. Okay. Again, I am not an expert. I'm not an expert in macroeconomics. Okay. But that's the general gist of my comprehension of it. And I know this obviously is relevant to those of us living in the USA. I don't know if, well, everything technically is interconnected, right? So whatever's going on in the USA affects other countries, and what goes on in other countries affects the USA. And so I'm just making you aware of this, okay? So this coming Tuesday, March 11th, the Bank Term Lending Program extension will expire, give or take around the 11th, okay? What does this mean? My comprehension of it is that you're going to see a lot of banks shutting up shop, closing shop, going out of business, becoming insolvent, closing people's accounts, maybe taking people's money, okay? I know just in the past week, I've seen videos popping up on YouTube reporting that people's bank accounts are suddenly being closed. Now, the banks that God has been showing me to stay away from here in the USA, he actually showed me regarding Bank of America. He showed me to stay away from them years ago when my ex-husband and I were splitting up because he went to go get an account with them. And I don't remember all the details, but he had nothing but trouble with them. And I've heard nothing but bad things about them. And then, of course, there's Wells Fargo and Chase. Those three seem to be like the worst ones in terms of just how they operate, and they take people's money and just people are sharing ridiculous reports about those three banks. I bank with Capital One, and that's only because I was originally with ING Direct, which was a Canadian bank, I believe, to begin with, and they got bought out by Capital One. And I've just stuck with them because I knew when I left New Jersey years ago for graduate school that I would be, possibly moving around the country. Little did I know, boy, oh boy, would I be moving around the country. And so I just knew that it was a national bank, and they're an online bank. They don't really have local branches, and so that enables them to give you interest. So like my checking account is a interest-bearing checking account. So at the end of every month, whatever amount, I accrue a little percentage of interest. So I get a few cents added to my balance at the end of each month or whatever. And same thing for savings and, so forth. If you don't have, and that was something that back when I was like 21 years old, one of my coworkers kind of took me under his wing and taught me some financial stuff. And that was one of the things he said to me. He said, you need to have a interest accruing, or what's the word? Is that the right word? An interest bearing, an interest accruing checking account, meaning like you get paid interest. So that's just some stuff that I've learned over the years and whatnot. But I would say Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Chase, if you're with any of those, get out of those. That's just my observation. You go pray about it, okay? Your responsibility is that you're supposed to be in unceasing prayer. You're supposed to test everything and hold fast to what is good. You're supposed to ask God what his will for you is, okay? So, but I just wanted to make you aware or remind you, this coming Tuesday, March 11th, the Bank Term Lending Program extension will come to an end. It expires, and here the week prior, I'm already seeing videos popping up saying that people's bank accounts are getting suddenly closed and so forth. And I've seen reports over the last 3, 4, or 5 years of, particular banks that I just mentioned, taking people's money from their accounts and so on and so forth. I haven't really heard any of that stuff about Capital One. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I have not come across that regarding Capital One. And I keep asking God if he wants me to switch banks or do anything differently with my finances, and I believe he's telling me no. Lord, did you want me to get into... I was going to get into some other topics, but I'm not... God's telling me not to touch anything else. So I just wanted to make you aware of this. I do believe that this may be ushering in, contributing to, leading to, the whole CBDC, one world, everything, stuff that they're planning and blah, blah, blah. Okay, so this is just something to be watching and keeping your eye on and asking the Lord, what action does he want you to take? Okay, I'm sorry that I waited till now. It's like Friday afternoon, and we're talking about this coming Tuesday. I was planning on doing a video, like I said, this past Monday to give people more of a heads up, but I had to take a few days to pray about something. So, but late, better than never. But this is something that if you've been paying attention on this channel, I've been mentioning this. I have been mentioning this here and there for months now. It's something that I have demarcated on my timeline that I've shared with you guys a few times. I don't know what you guys really believe. I don't know what you pay attention to or what you retain, or when I share documents on my Google Drive, if you actually go and download them and examine them. That's all between you and God. But this is not something that I'm just bringing up out of nowhere. I have been mentioning this, okay? So this coming Tuesday, March 11th, 2025, the Bank Term Lending Program extension expires. And so do not be surprised if here in the USA you see people's money being taken from their accounts, perhaps people's accounts being closed, bank branches being closed, bank policies changing, banks just going insolvent, closing, going out of business, whatever, okay? This is something to be watching. This is something to be discussing with God. Again, to just, ask him, Lord, what do you want me to do personally with my finances, personally, or if you have a business or something, just ask the Lord what he wants you to be doing if you're not aware of this. But this is something to keep an eye on. Okay, and like I said, I believe this is going to somehow flow into, their agenda of what they're going to be doing with the world economy and so forth. So I just thought I would bring this to your attention, remind you of it, inform you of it if you're not aware. Bank Term Lending Program extension expires, give or take, March 11th, this coming Tuesday. And while I'm at it, I will also just remind you that this coming Friday, today's Friday. This coming Friday, March 14th, 2025, is the blood moon total lunar eclipse. I believe God has told me that this will be an official judgment of the church. And I believe that there will be something in terms of a punishment released regarding the church if you are coming up wanting in God's scales. If you are interested in me facilitating your deliverance. And this does not mean that we have to have a phone call. It doesn't mean we have to have a video call. It just means that we go back and forth via email and I give you some instructions. That's all it means. And it doesn't mean that I charge you. I don't charge a penny. If you want to donate to me, that's between you and God. Okay. But you can email me. It's simply April.Denise.Stefko@gmail.com. And I can give you instructions as to how to go about facilitating your deliverance, your consecration, so that you can become resistant and eventually immune to what has been, is, and will be released. And so that you can get some breakthrough. And we're talking body level, spirit level, soul level. Okay. You could get breakthrough financially. You could get breakthrough in terms of relationships. You could get breakthrough in terms of depression, mental health. You could get breakthrough in terms of physical health. Okay. But a lot of people think they're in right standing with God when they're not. And if you take care of at least the first 2 levels of deliverance, there's 7 levels of deliverance from evil spirits. If you take care of at least the first 2 levels, that will secure your salvation if you're not already in right standing with God. And do not take for granted that you are. A lot of people think they are, and they're not. So I do exhort you to just, be mindful of these things. Take these 2 topics back to God and just ask him what action he wants you to take. I do exhort you in the name of Yeshua, the Christ of Nazareth, to have a discussion with God about your finances, your banking, as well as, pursuing your deliverance, whether or not he wants you to email me so that I can give you the instructions for deliverance, since it's not time for me to do the full-blown teaching on the channel yet. Okay. And, just some other things that are just noteworthy. Okay. So Tuesday, the 11th, the bank term lending program extension expires. Thursday, the 13th, I believe, is Purim at sundown. Okay. Friday, the 14th at sundown is the blood moon, total lunar eclipse. And, Saturday, March 15th, I believe they call that the Ides of March. And, God's not telling me to say anything, but don't be surprised if something significant happens on that day. And then about a month later, mid-April, Passover, Saturday the 12th, April 12th, Saturday at sundown is Passover. That, I believe, commences the Great Tribulation. And again, I believe that God told me that that's when Michael, who is the restrainer, will stand up, and that will be his way of communicating, so to speak, with the angels that he is in charge of, which are the guardian angels. That's what I believe God told me. And anyone who's not in right standing with God, their guardian angels will metaphorically sit down. They will no longer prevent the premature death of those people. Okay. So these are all things for you to seek the Lord about. Okay. Go and discuss it with Yeshua, the Christ of Nazareth, and ask him what action he wants you to take. I will put my email address in the description box below. Again, it's simply just April.Denise.Stefko@gmail.com. It's always on my About page. It's usually in the description boxes of my teaching videos. You can email me and I'll get you going on your deliverance process. You really do want to get that going immediately. And I think that's really it. I just wanted to just punctuate about the bank term lending program extension expiring on Tuesday, March 11th. So that's that. Take this information into your prayer closet and discuss it with God, with Yeshua, the Christ of Nazareth. I bless you all in the name of Yeshua, the Christ of Nazareth.